Gene, how you doing?
Mike, can you check your phone to see if we're on? Somebody?
If you want me to, no, you probably got a faster tonight. Sometimes it's, I'm not, I'm technologically challenged.
See that? You got your green sweater? Hey, what's up doing your yard work?
According to what I see, we're on.
Muddy. You must be living well drained here. I live in that clay.
Sometimes I can fight it, sometimes I can't.
Okay, we'll call the Town of Alexandria Board meeting to order for March 16th, 2022. Could everybody please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make motion, pay the bills.
Okay, and now we're gonna, motion by Sean, second by Gene, we're gonna have a discussion because there's a bill in here that I'd like to hold out and not pay, which is the Bonadio bill. We're gonna hold off on that, so we'll approve the abstract with everything but the Bonadio bill. Everybody in favor of that?
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None. Motion to approve the minutes. We don't have any minutes in front of us. Jesse is still working on the minutes. Okay, now I have privilege of the floor. Anybody from the public that wants to talk, and discussion about the AstroTurf surface is item number 5. So we'll hold that and let people talk during that if they want to. Anybody else have any public concerns they want to talk about? Okay.
Oh, I had a quick thing to
Yep.
report. It kind of dawned on me this year, being in different rinks for the last 6 months, that one of our rink is one of the only ones without that mid divider board. I thought that would be very beneficial for the lower levels. And then even used during the summer if you wanted to divide it into different activities. So just wanted to put that idea out there to the board to ponder.
Yeah.
I think they run about $4,600. You
Yeah.
only have to get one. They have 2 up in TI, but
So,
it's not needed.
it's typical, all those lower levels get split up, and they put a board right down centerized, or sometimes 2, they have 2 sets in Clayton. So it's probably something that we should look at,
Okay.
because our lower groups can't host anything in the bay
Without that.
without that.
Okay.
So all our, 6U, 8U, 10U games are all in Clayton, right?
For our level there.
Yeah, yeah,
Something you can look into and
Yep.
we can,
yep,
yep.
we'll look into that.
Yeah, we were just talking, you could
Okay.
use the rink for 2 practices that way, two different age groups. It would certainly be beneficial.
Okay, we'll definitely look into it, see what we can
Great,
do.
thank you.
Anybody else for public concerns? Okay, we'll move on. Zoning report. Norris, you have to get out of here, so I put you on number 1.
Okay, for the month of February, I took in $720 total. And we had, in the winter time, it's always slow. I had 3 permits that I gave out, year-to-date 4, 0 subdivisions, year-to-date 3, variances granted 1, year-to-date 1, variances denied 0, site plans 3, and the total for the year is 3, special use permits is 0, violation letters is 3 of them for violation, 2 was for junk, 1 was garbage, and then also I gave out 2 stop work orders. Any court cases? None. Lot lines, there was 2, leaving a total of 3 for the year.
Okay, the next item is, I think Mr. Schaefer's here from Harbor Villas, and he'd like to talk to us about some concerns he has.
Geez, I wanted to hear about the hockey arena, because I am a fan. Thank you for taking the time to let me come up and talk about it. And my name is Dave Schaefer. In a weak moment last fall, was elected president of the HOA for the birdhouses. Wasn't the best idea I ever made in my life, but we obviously have been dealing for a number of years with the gentleman across the way, adjacent to the marina and the apartments. I'd just like to read a letter and then I'll submit it to you. We're asking for help. We come up here in the summer and the last thing I want to do is have a spitting match with a neighbor. I don't want to have one in my own home back in Weedsport. Yeah. Nor do our neighbors. We come up, we want to enjoy the river. We think we're good stewards of the river, and we spend our money here locally in town, from garlocs to the restaurants to the other activities that are available here, and we thoroughly enjoy it.
How many units do you represent down there?
I represent 30 units. 3 of the units are owned by people who have a financial interest in the marina, and I am not one of them. All of the people that have the financial interest in the marina, except one individual, are down the other end away from the issue with the junk and if the lot between the apartments and the marina. But when we go out on our decks in the morning to have a cup of coffee or go out in the evening to have, you know, a cocktail, we get to look at just a crap hole. The gentleman has couches, chairs, there's mattresses over there. Right now there are 2 unregistered vehicles, there's one unregistered boat, 3 unregistered trailers, and at any given time during the year he brings stuff in and swaps it out. He's doing this purposefully because he has an issue.
Is this the apartment complex or the marina?
No, it's the owner of the apartment complex. It's the lot between the apartment complex and the marina.
Okay, so, all right.
Yeah. And I know it's an open meeting. I can't list the gentleman's name, or maybe I can up here, I don't know.
I'd rather you didn't.
Okay. Anyway, the gentleman has had an ongoing feud with the marina over the ingress and egress, the road into the marina. You may have seen the signs, the plywood signs with the orange paint, that we're dealing with the village on the sign ordinance there. It's right on the village-town line. It's a big mess, and we're just asking for help. So I wrote a letter to give to you, but also to demonstrate to the members of my organization that I'm trying to work out something that we can get this taken care of without litigation, without standing out in the street yelling and screaming at people and having the gentleman make sexual innuendos at my wife and things like that. I don't want another, it's 2 years we've done this, I don't want a 3rd year. You've always answered my calls and returned my calls, I appreciate that. The zoning people have. Unfortunately though, we just haven't made any progress. Over the past several years, many members of the Harbor Villas community have had multiple conversations with the town supervisor, town board members, and zoning board members regarding the property owned by Mr. blah blah blah, adjacent to the Carnegie Bay Marina. The ownership of Carnegie Bay Marina has made significant investments and improvements in their property, thus improving the quality of life of the Alexandria Bay experience for all. As you are aware, Mr. So-and-so has had an ongoing and open public feud with the owners of Carnegie Bay Marina. When Mr. So-and-so repeatedly found that he had no legal standing in the argument, he proceeded to place unsightly signs along the ingress and egress to the Carnegie Bay Marina property without permit, violating the town sign restrictions. I'm not sure that's true, but he's got way too many for this area he's using. Subsequently, he began putting unlicensed junk cars, travel trailers, pieces of discarded furniture, couches, sofas, etc., discarded appliances, and other pieces of junk across his property. As well, he continues to keep his grass well above the required 12-inch height limit. The action is not an issue of a lack of resources on Mr. So-and-so's part, but done intentionally to be a nuisance. There are only 3 current members or owners of the individual units at Harbor Villa who have any financial involvement with Carnegie Bay Marina. However, Mr. So-and-so continues to visually harass the 27 other property owners at Harbor Villas, as well as the owners of Carnegie Bay Marina, in direct violation of town ordinances. With the upcoming season approaching, the Harbor Villas HOA Board of Directors implores the town to take action regarding Mr. So-and-so's trash, junk, and other zoning violations. The membership simply does not believe that he should have to tolerate another season of Mr. Reed's zoning violations and harassment. And I'll submit this to you. He just doesn't want to get along with anybody. We've tried to buy the property. We've tried to do everything. He's got a beef with the marina. He doesn't like those guys. It goes back years. I'm not sure even really what it's over, but the rest of us are getting the brunt of this and being punished for something that has nothing to do with us. When we've approached him about this, he tells us to go do things, just things that I'm not going to repeat in an open meeting, but, and I know you're aware of some of those
I was
conversations.
gonna say, I've been on the site, I've been called there on Friday and Saturday nights, I've been down there. I've been down there with the state police.
Yeah.
I've been there quite a bit, and so has, Norris and Ron Beach, our zoning guys have been there. And I'd like Norris to say a couple things, because Norris has checked the property out last week, and he checked it out again this afternoon. There's some things on there that are potential violations. He noted those today, and the process that you will go through, Norris, is
30 days before.
30 days. So he'll go
30
back.
days after you provide him notice?
Yeah,
And how long to provide notice?
I haven't did that yet.
No, but how long is there a time limit between today and?
30 days, I have to give him 30 days.
Right, so as
From the
soon as
time I
you do
notify.
that, yeah, okay.
But I wanna say this, the dumpster, there's nothing we can do.
No, I understand, but all the stuff besides the dumpster,
Yeah.
the mattress, all that?
Yes, there's a mattress, there's a set of bed springs and a bed rail, and, a electric water heater or propane, I can't remember which it is, don't matter. And that sits there, which I take it is junk, okay? That he should get rid of, but again, I've gotta give him them 30 days.
Right, and that's great.
And I will send him a thing next week.
Okay, and that's the first step, because, once you cite him and give him the 30 days, and if he doesn't comply, then we have some legal recourse to go after him.
Yeah.
But until he's been cited and doesn't comply, we don't have any legal recourse.
That's right.
And
And the cars, you say
Complex in the
there's two.
village.
Permit has been met the violation.
I looked today specifically for 2 cars.
there's a red one on the road,
Yep, the red.
and there's a green Chrysler LeBaron convertible that was last registered in 2014, just behind the house.
Okay, is
But
there
it's
any
in the line
plates-
of sight.
Is there any plates on it at all?
There are plates, but it's not registered.
Yeah.
I went and
See,
checked.
Our rules, and I don't say it's right, but our rules says if there's a set of plates on that car, it's perfectly legal.
I ain't got a set of plates anywhere. I got 2 in my
I agree.
garage.
I agree, but that's what our rules.
We need to change
Okay.
that rule.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, anyway, if we can get him cited, that would be great. If anybody knows the guy, has any ability to talk to the man, please help us. We don't have beef with him, we just want him to clean up
I
his
don't.
garbage.
He just won't listen.
No. So if you'll cite him, that would be great.
Because I know what's gonna happen, then signs on the village, all of a sudden he'll put them on the town property. That's what's gonna happen.
Well, and now they've sat all winter, so you can imagine how much better they look than they did last summer, not much. You know, they're all, now they're dilapidated and
More on
falling
your
apart.
side and 2 on ours, right?
You know, if I didn't have a bright red truck that shows up on his cameras pretty well, I'd go move some of the stuff off of there myself and take it out to his place by Black Lake and dump it in his yard, but I can't do that. But unfortunately, it's gonna come to somebody getting hurt out there. My wife has a pretty good leash on me and won't let me go over there anymore, but,
Has the village got involved in this
yes.
as well?
Yes.
Talked with Lee
He's got
Schimmel multiple times.
Okay, I'm just trying to help you out, that's,
The big 6 signs, he's got 2 on the village side,
and 4 on the town site.
Is the village doing anything like say Norris's?
Well, what happened
Lee's
with the
been down
sign
there
ordinance?
to cite it.
Okay.
What happened with the new sign ordinance in the village? I saw that on their minutes, but I couldn't really tell if it had been finished or
No,
adopted.
we just, did a resolution last night to extend it 4 more months.
Okay.
But still, he's in violation.
Yeah, because they're homemade and they don't.
Yeah.
They have to get a permit to put them up too, right? So the situation is that, the property was surveyed last year. And they keep talking about town and village. Well, the survey line for between the town and the village goes right through this problem area.
Right through the front yard of that house.
So sometimes there's stuff that's in the town that's in violation, and sometimes there's stuff in the village, and stuff gets moved, so.
You know, last year
Just to explain where we're at here.
I dealt with the village and I got on the DPW guy and he was real helpful. He went and sent some guys down to mow the grass, but it was in the town and that created a problem and.
Yeah, just slightly.
You know, so it's just been a big mess and, you know, we just love it up here. I'm gonna retire next year and then I'm gonna be one of you. I'm gonna be year-round up here. We're gonna winterize our boathouse and.
Well, if you give us that letter, we'll put that letter on
Yeah.
file, and,
That'd be great, and.
everybody's, listen to what you have to say, and I can only speak for the town, but we're gonna try to stay on top of this as much as we can.
Okay, and, here's a set of pictures that I had to
Okay.
submit.
Yep.
Really appreciate your time, and I appreciate your patience. I know you got a lot of your, thank you.
And you've got my phone number, feel free to give me a call.
Yeah, I'm heading for the dockside for a burger.
Thank you. Town engineer report, Mr. Campany.
Yeah, I'll be quick. First thing is, I got a call from the Army Corps this week. I don't know if you recall, about the program for the Goose Bay Restoration Project. We had some questions about it, earlier in the winter. It looks like that program is going to be funded, and what it is, it's a study of up to $100,000 that the Army Corps actually shepherds to evaluate the ecosystem and the habitat in Goose Bay. This project has been in the works for a while. The Goose Bay group has been pushing this over the years, but it hasn't been funded until it looks like it's going to get funded this coming year. So the Army Corps has asked for a letter of support from the town to move the application forward. So I drafted a letter for Brent's signature. It's pretty straightforward. It simply asks it recognizes this Water Resources Development Act of 1996, and that you're in support of it, and understand that anything over $100,000 may have a town component. However, he did tell me that this program's pretty well funded, and even if the study, or even if there's work over 100,000, that's likely to be covered by the Army Corps as well. This is no obligation. You're not obligated to cover your 50%. They will notify you if that time comes. This only supports the project up to the $100,000 that is fully funded by the Army Corps. So you can read this. If you're okay with it, I'd ask that Brent sign it, and then we can ship it off to the Corps tomorrow. I don't know if there's any questions.
You guys comfortable with it? You wanna make a motion?
I'll make the motion for you, Sam.
Motion by Gene,
Second?
second by Sean. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all those opposed? None. Anything else, Rob?
The other items, we did receive the permit for the Mud Lake shoreline stabilization. And, we met with Mike, and Brent was there. And, we decided that it would be better to do it this summer instead of in the winter. But the permit is in place, and we can stabilize that old railroad bed we kind of brought it to a head. We had a thaw in January, and the strong winds, it was gonna overtop the railroad bed and wash out, which it would wash out right underneath Route 37. So it definitely needs some material brought in. We got the permit to raise the railroad bed, put some stone riprap on the Mud Lake side, as well as some stone blocks to keep the ATV, if ATVs should ever find their way in there, and keep them out of the lake, so, so that permit's in place. We're just waiting for better weather, and Jamie, you were involved to do that little project with town forces, so. The only other thing is the boat launch, Goose Bay boat launch project is ready to go out to bid. We got all the permits, we talked about this before. There are some components that the town might be able to do themselves with their own forces. So we're gonna meet with Mike sometime in the next week or so and review that. But we'd like to get this out to bid right away. None of the work will probably happen until after Labor Day. It can't happen until after July 15th. The DEC won't let you do any in-water work until after the 15th. But from a practical standpoint, you probably don't wanna do it until after Labor Day, cause it's so busy down there. But it's not too early to go out to bid, get the numbers, determine what, the highway department might be able to do. As far as the parking lot, for the new board members, that includes the, you know, expanding the parking lot that's up Goose Bay Road, you know, as you drive in on the right. So we're making that bigger to accommodate trucks and trailers, as well as a new boat ramp. We're taking the old boat ramp out, putting a new boat ramp in that will be to spec, and out farther for low water. We're raising the bulkhead, the sheet pile bulkhead that's there, raising it a foot, to be able to better position for high water events, and we're adding a kayak launch. We're fixing the, we're gonna pave that little, with their 5 spaces maybe, down by the boat launch, and doing a little landscaping there as well, so. So anyway, Brian and I will meet with Mike.
So I get calls all summer long, especially on weekends, that parking lot's full. And I go down there, we started a ticket process because there was a lot of trailers parked there that were not attached to vehicles, and people leaving there for the summer. So I believe the scale and scope of what we're talking about with the parking lot, I believe we're gonna double the size of the parking lot.
Not quite, there's a wetland in the woods that we can't encroach upon, so we're pushing it as far to that wetland as we can. There'll be some trees cleared and some more fill drawn in there.
And this is 100% grant.
95.
95.
Yep.
And the dollar amount is
about 500,000, don't quote me on it, but.
So that's what we're doing, and that's everything he just talked about. We've got a bunch of new floating docks going in, the floating docks are going out, and there's gonna be
Oh, that's a good point.
it's gonna be what, an F configuration?
Yeah, so right now, there's just, I think there's two 20-footers.
Two 20-footers.
There's two 20-footers out there, but we're gonna extend that out and put some fingers that point downriver, so to the right. So we're expanding the short-term dock instead of.
And we went through the approval process with those docks because we had to stay within the riparian lines and the imaginary lines over the water, so that the neighbors know about it, everything is
Neighbors
kosher.
have signed off on it on both sides, so.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, that's all I have, unless you got.
Okay, thanks, Rob. Letters of intent, the last meeting, we did a letter of intent for the Volvo, and we talked about the 550, but I need a specific motion on this letter of intent for the 550, and I think it should have been in your packet. It's just a standard letter.
There wasn't an actual, I think that was.
Didn't have it last time.
I didn't have it.
Correct, it's,
Yep,
I don't think I have it this time.
I don't think so.
I don't have it this time.
I haven't seen it.
well, I'll look for it as we go through the meeting.
Because it was one for the Volvo, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll move on to number 5, the proposal for the current recreation center on Bolton Avenue, and this is for an astroturf type surface on the inside of the arena, and I'm gonna read a letter to the town board members. I'm writing this letter in strong support of the turf installation at the municipal arena. While I understand this is a significant investment, the benefits overwhelmingly outweigh the cost. Also, the support from the community is tremendous. Pay It, an organization that I am a member of, pledges $10,000 towards the turf project. This is the type of support we have to make this happen. I would like to offer my view on the benefits of an indoor turf facility. Being the Town of Alexandria Youth Committee member and coach for 3 different sports, I have personally watched as many practices and games have been canceled because of inclement weather. Obviously, having an indoor facility would greatly improve maintaining those practices and games. Another benefit is that the area can actually gain revenue in the off-season. This will be the only indoor facility north of Watertown, and from my research, the only town-run facility in all of upstate New York. Many school districts and town youth organizations will certainly take advantage of our turf, obviously creating revenue. Locally, Alexandria Central has already expressed a great deal of interest, especially with the pending gym construction. It's amazing to think the arena could actually make a profit or possibly break even. Lastly, as many of you know, we are in the rebuilding process of our athletic programs at Alexandria Central. I am also on the ACS Athletic Committee, and one aspect we are focusing on is coordinating between the school and the town to create benefits and more opportunities for our youth to bring back strong and competitive athletic programs. An indoor facility such as this one, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make a difference for another generation. This is honestly the tipping point to gain momentum in getting our programs going strong. The town board has the opportunity to do a great service to our community. The positive publicity that will come with this project will be greatly beneficial as well. It will be a huge media event, as we will be the first in the area to do this. Let's not pass this opportunity up as we have done in the past. I'm asking with all respect to each board member, please vote yes on funding this project. Sincerely, Matt Chase, Town of Alexandria Youth Committee, Alexandria Central School Athletic Committee, Payette Board Member. At this point, I'd like to ask anybody from the public if they'd like to speak or talk about this and support or whatever.
Well, you've got the Bonnie Castle, I'm Tom Petrie, used to be a board member. I worked the rinks over 50 years, when the Bay started down here, and then I went to Bonnie Castle and helped them up there. Rinks are a dying art right now, there's no money. There'd be very little expense with turf in there, and the adult groups could use it for pickleball, the school used to use it for tennis, baseball when they couldn't get on the fields. I think it's a great program, and also now cornhole is another one for adults. So I think rinks are a dying art anymore, seriously.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not opposed to them, but they're a dying art.
I mean, Tommy's worked at the rink here in the village, where, as you said, you've been involved in that for 50 years.
Yeah.
And I think you've seen what has gone on, and I've seen what's gone on for 14 years with the revenues from the hockey season, and it's been tough. And I think that Sean and some board members will be able to tell us that you've seen hockey teams, school teams and stuff that have combined with other districts because of lack of players, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, the hockey player in me says we're not getting rid of the ice, but that's just me talking and my feeling about it. I see the initial benefit to get us outside the ice season per se and carry us through the rest of the year. I want to say, Matt, I really appreciate all your, I mean, you've really kind of stepped up and handled this whole thing. Matt brought this to me pretty early on. When we first talked, I think we were looking maybe next year, and I said, no, I think there's an opportunity for us to push this forward relatively quickly. And it's been met with positivity. I mean, you've had the calls, Matt's had the calls, there's a show of supporters, not jumping up to talk right now, but they're here, and you know, I really appreciate the effort that you've gone through on this. It's important. You know, for the youngest guy on this board, I have a lot of old school values when it comes to our town, and the athletic programs have seriously declined. And there's nothing that really brings the community together than athletics. And it's good to see people, you know, finally acknowledging that and trying to make a difference. And having the school here means a lot. Thank you for being here and showing your support for this. And moving forward, it's really important that we keep that relationship rolling. And this could be a huge pillar in doing that. So
I started talking to Sean over a year ago about doing some things involved with the town, and he and his wife have always been very involved and very helpful with the youth programs. And I just wanted to say that, you know, Sean I told him right from the beginning, well, would you like to be involved in the youth? And he just kinda smiled and said absolutely, so I just give him a little history there with Sean. Go ahead.
So I'll say, Matt said it well. I have Terry Lowe here, our athletic coordinator, who could probably speak to the long-term use if we did have to. But certainly he made a great point in short term. We're decommissioning the gym, July 1st, so we're gonna be out of the gym, hopefully for just a year. Realistically, year and a half, could be longer, I don't know. So already with a functioning gym, we don't have space. And we're talking about, we've already partnered with the town, we're trying to build up our programs, that's everything from hockey to baseball to soccer. We're putting a lot of resources in making our athletics, more robust. And, one of our limiting factors is space, and that's one of the biggest reasons for a slightly larger gym. So I can say certainly in the short term, a year, 2 years, just like we purchased quite a bit of, ice time, we would certainly be purchasing quite a bit of turf time. And Sarah, if you want to talk about sports programs, more in the long term.
Absolutely. Our sports program, even after that we get this new gym, we're still gonna be in need of space. I mean, anybody who's played at ACS knows, you know, right now we've got 6 teams trying to use one gym because it's too wet to get outside. So spring, summer, you know, winter, even running, you know, indoor soccer for some of our kids, or allowing the town to not have to cancel their practices. It's just, we're looking forward to this idea. I totally back it. It's something I've mentioned for years, so I'm glad that you're taking it forward. You know, our spring sports especially, once the ice is off, we can't do baseball, softball in there because the floor's too hard. And the way the ball hits, you're gonna have kids getting hurt. But if we had turf in there, that'd be amazing. So yes, we're definitely all for this. And like I said, even once we have that new gym, we're still gonna have a lot of teams, and if we can keep growing teams, and I know there's a wonderful youth program coming up, we've got a lot of kids involved, we wanna keep them involved, but they have to have someplace to play.
Yeah.
So, and again, I agree with Tommy, we'd have adult leagues that would use it at night, not just pickleball, but you could do indoor soccer, you could do so many things in there. So I wholeheartedly, please.
So, a quick question for Mr. Clapper. You're talking at least one season that you're not gonna be able to have high school basketball? Maybe 2?
So we know best case scenario, the gym is gonna be out of commission for a full year.
So, forgetting the rink building, have you made any arrangements for your games somewhere else?
Currently, we know we've secured Gardino Elementary in Clayton. That's a pretty long haul. So we're looking for gymnasiums. LaFarge's expressed interest to allow us to rent space there.
Obviously, the rink building's right across the road from the school.
Exactly.
So, even though it's not straight for basketball, it could be. I don't know if that's something you might wanna entertain.
Absolutely. I mean,
Obviously, if there's ice on it, we can't do that, but if you're still running hockey games.
Yeah, it's concrete, I'm just asking, I'm just throwing that out there.
But definitely, if the ice were to move elsewhere because another rink's open and that was an opportunity, sure.
but to your point, even outside of the gym, being out of commission, we were still looking at renting space because we don't have space, for sports teams. So we were looking to our neighboring schools to a night a week or 2 nights a week to rent some good space. So the just going across the street certainly is a much better option for us.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that for the last 2 or 3 years, the school has really stepped up and they've started renting our ice during the day on weekdays. And there's nothing going on over there during the day on weekdays. Everything starts at 3:30. So when we got the first phone call from you a few years ago that wondered if we could work something out so that you could use it during the day, that's been a huge help to the town of Alexandria. And I'd like to say thank you, because and anything we can do to improve that relationship, feel free to give us a call.
We've had a great opportunity by partnering with you. We've brought the Wolves in a lot to work with our younger kids. And we foresee us expanding that program as well. So not only turf will we certainly we desire from you guys, but also more ice time during the day. And again, when the gym is out of commission for a year plus, we're gonna be bringing our PE kids out to use the ice. Again, it's right across the street, we can quickly transition, it's easy. So I imagine we'll be continuing with buying more ice time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak? I'd like to do one thing. I'd like to ask for a show of hands of the people who support us doing this AstroTurf at our arena. And now I'm gonna ask for a show of hands of the people who do not support it. That pretty much tells it, so.
Cold, we win.
Yeah. So I appreciate everybody coming and everybody supporting this, because it's a sizable investment, but I was very easily convinced by Matt and Sean that this makes a lot of sense to me.
Well, the thing is, too, the town has attempted in the past to do different things with that building in the summertime, and none of them have worked. This probably has the greatest chance of actually being successful. You know, go-karts, you guys did that.
Go-karts, mud wrestling,
That didn't work.
boxing.
None of that.
There's been all kinds of crazy stuff down there.
This would work.
He's a friend of mine, I remember there was a gentleman that worked there, and they pushed and pushed for the bumper cars.
Right.
Now, who wants to come up here in the summer, when you got a nice river out there, or sit at a bumper car? They lost their rear end on that.
Right.
Not being negative against anybody,
Yeah.
but you gotta pick something gonna do it. Plus, I feel sorry for the town, the village, and the school. With the price of gas, propane going up, you got your hands full with your budget. It's gonna break you this year, trust me.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be
Okay.
pretty.
Well, thank you, everybody, for your support. We appreciate it, and I think it's gonna help us tremendously make our decision easier about what we're doing here. Okay, and we're not gonna make that final decision tonight. We're gonna have a special meeting, but I believe we're gonna have that special meeting next Monday. That'll just be the board members. We've got some paperwork we gotta get together to make this happen, and we feel by Monday we can do that. So that's kind of our plans, and in the next day or so, I'll be putting something out about a special meeting, but it's really for us to just accumulate the paperwork we need to cover our procurement policy for purchasing something of this nature.
This is probably comparing apples to oranges, but my daughter lives in Las Vegas. All their parks in Vegas is now AstroTurf. They took the grass out because it was so expensive and using so much water that they all went to AstroTurf in other municipal parks.
My brother-in-law lives in Las Vegas, and his front yard is real grass, his backyard is AstroTurf, at his house.
Yeah, I asked my son about this because he plays in a soccer league in Watertown in the summer, and he's out there, I believe, 2 days a week, and when I told him what we were thinking about doing, he said, wow, he said, that's fantastic. He said, that place in Watertown is packed, and it's hard to get on the turf. And I said, what about the boards? What about all that? He says, you run into the boards, you run into the boards. It's not any different than hockey or anything else. He said, it works perfect out there. So it was nice to hear. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the consultant contract.
This is Dale Ramo.
Yeah, this is Dale Raymond. I don't have it back from Mr. Silver yet, as far as we were adding the assessor language. We looked at the contract last time, and we're adding the assessor language, so.
Yeah, we didn't get it. We don't have it here, right?
Right, I'm gonna try to do that on Monday too.
Okay.
I was talking to Dale about that this morning, and like you say, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Brent, should you put the 550 on the special meeting too, seeing as how we don't have it?
Yes, yeah, good idea. Remind me of that, okay?
Yeah, look who you're talking to.
Okay, the next item is, number 7, current concern about invasive species headed towards the St. Lawrence River. I'm not so sure about my wording on that, if I got that right. I was actually gonna call you up and say, what is that weed that you're talking about? And he'd like to speak on this. He's a
My name's
member.
John Compo, president of the Chippewa Bay Fishing Game Club down the road in the town of Hammond. I'm also on the board for the Black Lake Association. I don't know if anybody knows what a water chestnut is.
Yep.
But that's the patch we're dealing with in the town of Hubleton right now. It's over 100 acres on the water heading down the river. And there's a 50-acre patch in the back on a small pond. We've coupled ourselves with Slelo Prism, Save the River, Thousand Islands Land Trust, Chippewa Yacht Club, our association, my club, St. Lawrence Valley Sportsman's Club, Nature Conservancy, DEC, Parks and Recs. Got a whole pile of volunteers coming. I've secured a weed machine for the small pond out back, but we're looking for another weed machine for on the water. Town of Morristown's bringing dump trucks to help haul it off. Got 2 local contractors putting up equipment. payloaders and dump trucks so we can get the weeds off into the payloader, into the trucks and hauled out. Working on a pit to drop them in so we can go back and burn them. These things can lay dormant for 12 years. One plant produces up to 20. 1 acre can turn into 100 in 1 year, even with ice cover.
How far is that from the St. Lawrence River?
Oh, right now, we went last year with a group of 13 of us below the dam, all the way down to Eelware, and we pulled over 1,000 of them. And so far we know of, it has not got down past the Eelware Dam.
Yeah.
So we're looking to try to secure another weed machine. Somebody told me that you guys actually have one now. You wondered if you were willing to.
When you say a weed machine, are you looking?
Harvester, the cutter?
The one that we have.
Ours is not a cutter.
Yours is in a cutter.
Ours is a puller.
Puller, yep.
So yours is a puller.
Puller, yeah.
That makes a big difference.
Yeah, it is a big difference. We've employed a guy with a cutter, the guy from over to Redwood that Steve, we had do the village dock,
Yeah, that one cut.
Steve.
Spafford.
Yeah,
Yeah, Spafford, yeah,
So he's got a machine.
he's got a machine.
it's like a sickle bar.
Yep, that's what my friend's got. He's got 2 of them, but he needs the one on Black Lake, cause we got a big weed management plan going on for Black Lake as well with St. Lawrence County Planning Board and Board of Legislatures. They're trying to work on funding, and they're gonna keep the channel all cut, and they're gonna cut roadways out in the lake to stop the prop chop.
So this thing doesn't grow off the bottom, it grows.
Oh yes, it grows off the bottom. They go up to 16 feet deep, and that would pretty much consume every single bay and the little bays we got around here. And it outperforms Eurasian milfoil 2 to 1.
Does cutting it?
We gotta get the top of the plant, we don't need the root.
Does that kill it, or what?
Each time the plant gets its pods, they're, I don't know if you ever seen one of the pods.
I know what it is.
They're terrible looking. They got 4 sharp points. They can hurt horses' hooves, cows' hooves, dogs, people. I mean, they'll stab right into you. They're so sharp. Each one houses 15 to 20.
Like we've been dealing with milfoil, and the machine we have
pulls the bottom
out.
Well, the root of this is so tender, I mean, it pulls up like a little earthworm.
Yeah.
Top gets about this big,
So
and all the
why
seeds.
wouldn't pulling it be a smarter idea than cutting it?
Cause all we gotta do is get the top part. We need
That
about
kills
that
it.
much. Yep.
Okay, that's why I asked.
Yeah.
But once we cut it, we're gonna open the sunlight up to the bottom of the river, where the pods are still sitting, and more are gonna grow, but they won't be able to come to full fruition. So we're going June 25th.
See, we deal with the milfoil. The milfoil, when you cut the milfoil, a lot of times you spread it.
Well, the weed cutter my friend's got does 7-foot cuts.
Yeah,
He goes down deep, and
yeah.
they hardly lose anything on his machine, but he's using that one on the lake.
And I believe in our machine, in our harvester, I think the deepest we can go is about 8 feet.
Yeah, I think Hewelton's only 6, 8 feet, maybe 10 in a couple
Yeah.
spots.
Yeah,
Because we got, like I said, there's gonna be a lot of hand pulling. We got a lot of volunteers coming up.
yeah.
But the big
Right.
mass, we need machine for, because that's just too much. I mean, it was 100 acres last year. This year, I can't even imagine what it's gonna look like. It's probably gonna be already halfway down the river.
Well, anything we can do to help you, we're.
So I'll find out on the puller, if that's if that's a viable opportunity. I'll get a hold of, Megan from Sleelo Prison, find out if that's a possibility. And we just have to the DEC's on board too, so I'm sure they'd give us a permit.
Yep,
Because they're gonna come work with us to make a boat launch for the small weed cutter to go in the back pond. That's like 50, 60 acres, and that's packed right full.
yeah,
We also got, Brookfield Energy on board as well.
okay.
I'm going to meet with them, next month. They're gonna control the dam, so we have no issue getting the machines in.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
That's pretty much what I have. I mean, nobody wants this stuff anywhere around. It's horrible. I mean, it basically looks like a soybean field on the water. It's so thick. There's no kayaking, no canoeing, no fishing, no fry. It kills everything in its sight.
And when you harvest this stuff, you don't want to
We don't want-
compost this down for any,
Nope.
you just want to burn and get rid of it completely.
Them pods can sit for 12 years. All it takes somebody to go pick some up and chuck them in the water somewhere, and we got a headache all over again.
Yeah, I think he's asking that question because we have people, this milfoil that we harvest
Yeah.
has some very good protein in it, and nutrients, I meant.
Yes, yeah, my friend Jay, I got, not to cut you off, he's selling it to a local farmer.
Yeah, that's valuable.
It's one of the best fertilizers around.
Yeah, yeah,
But unfortunately, this stuff's not.
that's not.
No.
Okay,
No.
okay,
We just wanna get it all pulled out, because we're gonna have to go back like 5 years in a row with the machines,
yeah,
in order to get it under control.
right.
Just to
And
be
hopefully
clear,
we can
this
try to
stuff,
eradicate
you're
it.
harvesting milfoil out of Goose Bay right now, this stuff is not in Goose Bay yet, correct?
Not yet. All it's gonna take is one boater to take one of them with him, and it starts growing and nobody even notices it, so it's too late. Just like in Hubleton, I don't know how it got there, but somebody had some of them pods, you could buy them off the internet. They sell them to ward off evil spirits. And they gave us a major evil spirit. So like I said, I'll check into that, and if that's something that town of Alexandria would be interested in doing, that would be fantastic.
And you got my number, so.
Yes.
All right, call anything we can do, okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next one, number 8, we have something going on the scheduled grievance day, so we have to do a motion to change grievance day to May 25th, from 4 to 8 p.m.
Okay.
Okay, so I need a motion to do that.
I'll make that
Motion by Mike, second. Second by Gene. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, none. Motion to refund water and sewer customer number 9. This is the Davises on Route 12. They were billed a whole EDU, they should have been billed a half an EDU. Since January of 2017, he was billed $107.53 a quarter in 2021. When this was discovered, he had already been billed for 2 quarters, so the town of Alexandria did not bill him at all for the last 2 quarters. So in 2021, it was rectified, but between January 2017 and December of 2020, they were charged 17 quarters at $107.53, or $1,828.01. This should have been at $53.99 or $914.01. I believe the people are owed this money back since the beginning of 2017. That would mean we would be looking for a motion to refund them $914.01. We're only allowed by law to go back 3 years.
Just a little background, we tripped our we have a water sewer committee meeting, we meet once a week, I've been doing it for well over a year, and we tripped across this, and they have been complaining about this, because when they ran the water line down Route 12, they didn't want to be hooked up. The way the ordinance is crafted, if you're hooked up, you're 1 EDU, but if you're not, you're a half. And for some odd reason, right from day one, they were charged a single EDU, and that's what they're referring to, they should have been charged a half.
So day one was back in
17?
Yeah.
No, that's the 3-year limit.
No. That's when it was, right, Mike?
I think, yeah.
2017.
Yeah.
3 years back.
Right.
This is water going to Price Chopper, right?
Yeah, it was installed in 2016.
But at any rate, that's what that's referring to.
Yeah.
Is, now, to further expand on this, like say last year, we caught it, when we tripped across it, so, like many things, you don't know about them until you know about them. And then, so we were halfway through the year, so, well, we spoke to them, and we did, instead of refunding the money and then charging them by half of the last 2 quarters of the year, we just said, you've already paid for the full year, so you don't pay any more.
Yeah.
So that's what that is also referring to. The other thing that happened that I think we need to make them whole as well is, they didn't pay their water bill because they were.
Because they were upset, yeah.
And there was a re-levy.
Yeah.
We really should, if we're gonna make them whole, we should make them whole.
And what about a late fee?
That's what I'm talking about, the late fees.
That's what
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. If we're gonna make them whole, that's something we need to do. Now, we also spoke to them, because we had this happen in a different water district where legally we can only go back 3 years. And actually had Dale go talk to them and tell them this. We can go back 3 years, no problem. Or if you want us to go back further than that, it's only like another year, but it's still it's greater than, they have to take the town to small claims court. We can't just do it, they have to do it.
We did that in another district and it worked.
That's we gave them that and so we gave the Davises that exact same, offer. And they said, no, 3 years we're happy with. So that's what this is also.
And is this amount that we have in front of us that does not reflect the late fee that you're talking about?
I do not believe so, it does.
So we'll do a motion tonight to support this number that we have in front of us.
That's a minimum.
We're gonna have to do some digging to figure out what the other numbers are.
Right.
And do that as part 2.
Yep.
Okay. Any discussion? So what happened here is that in 2017, this water line went through, got put in, and the software program got set up in 2017, and the data was input into the software program, and what was input in 17 was to charge them 1 EDU. And they've been being charged 1 EDU since.
But that was contrary to the ordinance. That was
Yeah.
wrong from day one.
So, the mistake was made by the town of Alexandria in the input of the data in 2017. And it's never been found. These guys have been meeting for well over a year, and they have found a lot of things. And this is one of the more recent things.
Well, they've been complaining about it, but they've been complaining, what they want is no bill.
Yeah.
And the ordinance doesn't go for that.
Yeah.
It goes for this, and then this is legitimate, completely legitimate.
Which the ordinance is tied to our funding.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I need a motion to refund them $914.01.
I'll make that motion. With the late fee, we need to look into that.
That's gonna be part 2.
I thought, wouldn't you want the motion to be for the 3 years, cause that's what they request, isn't that what they said that was fine, the 3 years?
They're fine with the 3.
Which is a 645.
Oh, the 645.24?
Yes. Yep, okay, I'm sure, you're right.
Yeah, so they'd have to take the
Because we can't legally.
We can't legally
Until they
do
take
that.
us to
do that.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. So, Sean, you're right, $645.24 we're asking for.
Okay.
I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Sean,
I'll make that.
Second by Mike.
You know, like I said, we'll just make sure on the late fee.
Yeah.
That's the only other thing.
Yep. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? None. Okay. Jamie, water report.
In the water department, I've been doing my weekly, daily, and monthly testing. I've had, 2 residents that have, had leaks. One was metered, the other one wasn't. Broke before the meter. And we've been, since the snow's gone, we've been going out and just trying to find curb stops that have been plowed over and broke and bent. And in the sewer, we've changed out 1 pump. We've been working around the sewer plant, we put stone in the driveway, picked up trees that were knocked over through the winter. We just started tilling the beds. In the DPW, we've been plowing as needed. We did some work on the furnace at the town office. We've been up to the stables, helping out, Bernie and Carter Associates. And we sent the sewer truck, had to go to Whitesboro to get the plow fixed, the wiring, and, we unloaded the brochures at the trash recycler. I was hoping Ronnie was gonna be here, 'cause I'd like to know what they wanna do with the old ones.
I'm sorry, what?
What we wanna do with the old brochures, 2000.
I guess I better get a hold of the chamber and ask them what, because I asked them that question about once a year.
Yeah.
Circle back to it.
And they're a little bit worried because the new ones hadn't come in yet, but you've got new ones, so you got 2022 there.
Yeah,
And you got 21s there,
yes,
you got 20s there?
I believe so. You know, and we had 1 year that we decided that we were gonna clean the place up, and we threw them all away, and.
They take up a lot of room up there, don't they? There's a lot of them. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, I talked to the chamber, and they said throw them away, but,
did they?
yeah, I don't know. I kinda like to hear it from Ronnie too, 'cause I think that's what happened before.
Who'd you talk with at the chamber? The girl?
Yeah, I don't,
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, if they said throw them away, I mean, I'll just double check and make sure we're not throwing away something we shouldn't.
Yeah,
So,
we did it 1 year, and
yep,
it wasn't good, so.
Okay.
Have it reinforced.
A couple things, one, both the water and sewer, you can only really talk about the water, but you guys had a pest inspection, correct?
Yep.
And they found it's a bunch of things, correct?
Not really a bunch of things.
I'm just curious, what's the status of that?
So at the water tower, I have one eye wash up there, which is inside the tower, but they wanted one in the chemical store
Okay,
too.
and I got that,
That's all taken care of.
Okay.
The heaters in there didn't have ground faults on them.
okay,
I replaced them with ground. He's been there, he's looked at them, everything's good there.
He did?
Yeah, so, at Route 12, I had an eye wash there, but he didn't really like it, cause it was just the bottles, and, yeah, and, you know, you have to have them that last like 15 minutes. So I replaced them with ones that are hooked right into the water, so
Okay.
they're endless. And, at the Redwood Pump Station, I put some concrete barriers by the propane tank.
Okay, that's what I'm driving at is, we've resolved all those
Yep.
violations.
Yep.
How, and they know we've done that?
No.
Yeah, he does, yeah, he come back when he did,
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
sewer plant, and I
So are we
took
gonna
him
get
down and showed him.
Are we gonna get a piece of paper from them that says you did everything you're supposed to do?
I would imagine.
Cause all I've seen is something that's like violation and it's serious, blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
it'd be nice to get something that closes, you know, we resolved it, they're happy, you
The
know.
only thing I really have left is lockout, tag out, because I did one.
That's just
and
a
I showed it
policy.
to him, and he was like, "Oh."
I have one.
Yeah,
I can give that to you.
so,
I thought there was an issue with the lockout, tag out on the sewer pump services.
yeah, that's,
And that's one of the things that were written up for.
Now, that was something that was, there were further twists on it, wasn't it like
The pump stations
no,
themselves.
no, it wasn't like the power to individual houses,
At every house.
every individual house.
Yeah, you've got your panel for your sewer pot on the side of the house.
Right, but they want a
Probably
lockout tag out on every one of those.
If you're working on them, they want some form of lockout tag out.
Yeah.
Can we not get ones that just snap onto a breaker and you can put a lock through them when they're working on them, Rob?
I think what they want, the way I understood the violation, is that they want an external disconnect, so the minute you open that door, you know it's dead. They don't want anything inside, and there's a breaker in the homeowner's panel box,
So they don't,
but you can't access that all the time.
no, they want it right there.
They want a little 30 amp disconnect, whatever, you know, you could probably use like a hot tub disconnect, you know, an inexpensive disconnect, but it's still the time to pipe them, wire them.
You know, what do we got, 200 some,
220.
Yeah,
so you multiply whatever the cost of one of them times 200.
the disconnect is not that,
$30.
it's $25 maybe for a disconnect, but it's gonna take you a couple hours, Gene, you probably know.
Yeah,
It'll take you a little time to do every one, cause you gotta disconnect the power, you gotta do it when the homeowner's
Is
on.
that something new? Is that like a new?
Yeah, it is, so that was,
Pushing it a lot
those were
harder.
installed in 1990, so they're 30 years
Right.
old.
Yeah.
But they're gonna have to do it to every single home.
There's one way around it, but there's a couple ways around it. One of the ways around it is to hire an electrician to do it. And I'm not talking about hire an electrician to do the tag out. I'm talking about hire an electrician to go
Put the disconnect.
when we have to service that pump because there's a call on it.
The only other way, I don't know if we could,
Probably not, cause it's for a municipality and we'd still have to lock out and tag out.
Yeah, that,
He told,
Oh, he said that it's
that doesn't
electrician.
sound,
he told us that he could do it that way.
Yeah, then it goes on to the electrician, and if the electrician isn't smart enough to lock out and tag out, and something happens, it falls on them.
so if
Yeah.
we're gonna get,
but they do make,
So we just thought about putting you on a retainer.
so they do make a small twist disconnect, I don't know if you see them, they're circular. That
It's
you
a
could go.
toggle.
So, and I don't know if that would suffice, I guess we'd have to ask the Pesh guy, but you could drill a hole in the side of the control panel, and so before you open the control panel, you could twist the disconnect, tag it up, lock it out, and then it would be dead, all except the feed connectors at the little disconnect.
Yep.
I think that would be the cheapest, like your solar panel, your solar inverters here, that's the way they are. They're a little circular.
but to resolve this violation, we should, whatever we do, we should look into it, find out how much money we're talking about, because that's gonna be into that particular district, you know, it'd be good to know what that number is.
He hasn't, I mean, he hasn't really give us an answer on what he wants.
Maybe we could.
Most regulatory agencies will tell you what you can't do, they won't necessarily tell you what you can do.
They'll say, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be happy to call the guy and see
Yeah.
what he, if you want.
Now, okay, and that, okay, there's that.
I think
How about
that's a
like
good
the
idea.
Route 12 sewer?
I think it was $8.75, it's $10 now.
Okay, I just restarted it and it seemed to take it. And there is everybody right there in my picture.
$280 all right now.
It says it's recording. And the one good thing about that is the audio is definitely recording. Where were we here? Oh, about the AUD, 25. So, that's been completed. It was sent to Mike Lasan for review. He went over it. I think I passed emails on to you guys.
Yep.
Yes, I did pass emails on, and, he said that he double checked it, and everything was in order, and it was submitted, so I'd just like a motion from the board to, accept the submission of the annual document, AUD.
Okay, I thought we,
We did that in emails, but I'd like to do it at the board.
okay, let's say we're.
So, a motion by you?
We're motioning, doing something that's already been done. Okay, I'm good with that. I'm just saying.
When they, a lot of times when they come and look and they audit and they ask for things, they wanna see it in the minutes.
Okay, no, I'm saying, okay.
Yep.
I'll go with
So
that.
motion by Mike, second by
Me.
Sean, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? None. I'd like to put this on hold, this next one, just because of, we've gotta find out about the service and if it works. $370 a piece. Should I go ahead and order them? Probably not.
I don't see why not.
I don't see why not either. They are what they are.
Yep.
We're talking about these pickleball nets.
Yes,
But
they're for the arena.
I understand that. You could do that without the turf there.
So, pretty much why I would say order them. We don't know when the turf will be here.
Right.
They tell us
Okay.
5 weeks.
Yeah.
But,
Not
As we
only
know-
that, we were saying we were gonna roll the turf up, so
Yes.
pickleball
yeah,
players
and
can
that's
use
another
it,
option, so we might as well.
Don't,
you know.
Okay. I just wanted to double check.
I wouldn't be surprised if these people with the pickleball nets say they'll have them here in a couple of weeks and it'll end up being a month or two because
Yeah.
of the way the supply chain is on everything, so.
Yeah.
Well, Steve Jarvis was still here, I talked to him about it too, because they're building 2 more pickleball courts over here that they're going to have to buy nets for, but whatever, I agree with you, we'll figure it out and I'll get the things ordered. Okay. So, motion to order the pickleball nets by Mike, second by Gene. Any discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None. This next one, 27, I'm putting that, tabling that one also. The agreement with the Route 12 sewer and Route 2, or number 2. Andy Silvers looked at that agreement and he had a couple questions for me and I couldn't answer them, so we'll get back to him. You guys, I sent you an email today about our money situation and where we're at, about the CDs we have. I don't think I have a copy of that here.
I don't think I got a chance to
I
look.
saw the email, I've been party of us going this route before.
We've got a lot of money in our checking account, granted the interest rate is not good, but.
No, but it's, before it was just money sitting there getting nothing.
Yes.
So at least we're getting something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get that email?
I did. I guess my biggest question on it is, do we wanna move it all, or do we wanna put some into infrastructure or something else before you put
This
it
isn't all
all
of
into
it.
CDs? No, I know, I'm talking the whole amount he was talking about putting in CDs.
Two amounts of 250,000.
Yep.
500,000. And Nicole and I went back and forth between 800,000 and a million doing it, looking at our numbers, okay? And for that reason, we decided that 250 and 250, 500 was better in case we wanna do exactly what you're talking about.
Because otherwise it doesn't get it, we don't get, I mean, how much interest, even at low interest, how much interest do we get with the CDs we have now?
About 0.5%.
I know, but I'm just saying, what's the dollar figure?
What's the percent?
About 0.5%. Yeah.
I thought it was like about $15,000 or $20,000, something like
That's what
that.
we got the first couple of years.
Yeah.
Now we're down to $3,000 a year.
Okay. Oh, well, it's still, well, it's better than nothing. And we have no intention of spending all of it no matter what.
Yep.
So that's a smaller portion of the total amount.
Yeah, I'm looking up that email that I sent.
What are the penalties you face for that? For like
That's what I was wondering, if we pulled it out early, what would be the penalties?
So, we did this a couple years ago, remember, Mike, we went through? The penalties, I need to go through.
But we intentionally did this as well. We, instead of 500,000, it's broken into two.
Yeah, that's why you see all these amounts, in case we need money for an unexpected expense, we don't have to go in and cash in $1 million CD or a $500,000 CD. We
only
can
a
cash in
part
a
of it.
$250,000 CD.
Yeah.
That's why we break them up into a
But
couple.
what's the penalty on that?
There's a penalty rate, and we figured out the penalty rate last time,
I can't
And it-
remember, it's right.
and it ended up not amounting to anything.
No.
But I don't wanna say that without going through the whole process of the math to figure it out again.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we had, going through budgets and look at,
Well,
we have like a couple $1 million that have been just sitting there year after year after year, not getting spent, not doing anything other than just sitting there. So we said, well, let's make our money make money. And we didn't take that full 2 million, I'm just throwing that number out there. We started off with a couple of small ones, right, similar to what.
No, we're not taking the full fund balance in this one, I'm just wondering if depending on what the penalties would be for us to pull it off, we decided to do that, if it'd be smarter to hold 250 back and make the
Right.
decision before we invested it in a CD and we paid a penalty.
Okay, well, how much, we have,
I mean, if it's
well
only,
beyond
the
500,000.
penalty's like 0.5%, 1%, or a couple percent, it's probably not
It was extremely small when I figured it out. I actually called Darlene Johnson at the bank, and we went through the whole process, and she put it together for me. What time did I send you that email?
this afternoon.
It was 1:45 PM when I got it.
You ever dealt with them?
There it is right there. Looking at our current and future finances, I'll give you my thoughts. Available fund balance right now, that is in cash form, it's not encumbered, is $1,691,000 and some change. Not available, that is encumbered, streetscape monies, different things that we've encumbered it by, is $916,990. We have, right now, we have $1,124,739 in CDs. Mike, you were asking a question about how much have we made on those CDs? We put $1,100,000 in those CDs, so we've made $24,739 in interest, okay? We have to, and then I went through our future expenses. We gotta pay $350,000 for the streetscape, and we also have to front the villages $350,000 until the project is complete, then the village will pay us, and that's in the original agreement. Whether that'll be this year or not, I don't know.
Probably next year.
Okay, we'll be paying $112,000 for the Zamboni. I put the 104 plus 8 in there. We get a $100,000 grant. Knowing the state of New York, we won't get that grant money this year. It takes a while.
Yep.
Paying $95,000 for AstroTurf. Sales tax check is generally in April, about $400,000. If we decide, the additional water and sewer employee is $45,000. Excavator's $135,000, which actually I just read the new price, it was $122,000.
You had an option on that though, didn't you?
So that means $1,087,000 of possible predicted expenditures, okay? There I go through all the monthly expenses. There's the bond principals, total bond principal of $243,686, total interest of $68,392. Those are the numbers that Nicole and I use to put everything together. to come up with a very conservative $500,000. I'm not sure what you're thinking about, Gene, but one of the things I'm thinking about, and this board has done in the past, is we have given, if things were good financially, we've given some additional monies to the highway department that we specified in reserves that have to be for road improvements, not for other things. That would be one of the things I'm thinking about.
I like that. I mean, starting to knock your teeth out on a lot of the back roads, and I'm sure that's gotta be harder on our equipment, plowing and everything else.
Yeah.
I know it's harder on personal vehicles.
Yeah. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to hold out on making this decision tonight, and let me do a little bit more homework to answer Sean's question about penalties.
Yep.
And try to see if we can have that for next week, and if we don't, it'll be next month. But Mike knows we've bounced this thing around for months and months every time we do this.
Yeah, the thing is, a little background, I don't believe any board had even
Ever
done it until we did.
Yeah. I never put money in interest-bearing account.
Right.
Which just amazes, because I go to the bank and drop our deposits off, and I get the deposit slip back, and it's got the balance, and I look at it, and I say, oh, we got $2 million in our checking account.
It's just sitting there.
All the time. Give or take, so. Okay, I did find that letter of intent.
I was gonna ask you if you wanted to circle back to number 5 and do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I passed it back your way, so I don't know where I ended up after that.
So, did we already do a resolution on that? We just didn't have it, or what are we gonna do?
No, we didn't, because it was done the last time.
We tabled it because we didn't have the letter of intent.
So this doesn't lock us into any dollar amount. This is a form that the people that we wanna buy the truck from would like to have.
Right, no.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, we had that conversation.
Yeah, so now I have the letter in front of me, like I said, it doesn't lock us in, and I just need, the board to give me permission to sign this letter.
Yep, I'll make the motion.
Motion by Sean, second by Gene, any discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, none, okay. I got the Cobelco, excavator. You guys got that got brought out here.
Yeah, you put it in here.
It's in there?
That's where you put it, yep.
Yeah, you did.
Yep.
So you wanna do that in executive session now?
I don't think we do that in executive session. That is not an executive session
Okay.
item as far as I'm concerned. Anybody else have any opinion?
I agree.
I have like this last page, right? So this is 20, is this what, all that you have?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's we have an option of going new at what cost versus this one at 107? Is that?
Where's the first page of that?
I don't have it. Or if I do have it, I'm not seeing it.
Why don't we wait till Ronnie's here to have this conversation?
Okay, just to
I mean, I'm
tell you what's going on with that. Ronnie is not gonna be here till our next meeting, our next monthly meeting,
okay.
and Mike Tibbles has reserved the rental on a machine for 4 months at $6,000 a month. And we have and I don't mean to throw this under the bus or say that we shouldn't do that, but I'm just saying, I don't know what the terms are on this rental. I don't know when we can cancel it, I don't know when we can get out of it, I don't know what the terms are.
The machine is available right now, and if we keep kicking the can down the road, that machine might walk and you'll be waiting a year or more to get one.
I mean, if you wanna wait till Monday, we can wait till Monday and talk to Ronnie on the phone about it. I talked to Ronnie on the phone about it today and gave him my opinion of what I thought, because I feel I'm turning this thing into a business decision, and the reason I am is because we're paying 4 months rental every year now, okay? And the rental just went up by $1,000. So we're putting $24,000, $26,000, $27,000 a year towards running a machine. We have no control over what Mike does as far as rental. If he wants to run a machine for 4 months to do his work, that's what he does, It's not relevant to us how many hours get put on the machine or anything else. That's the deal. I mean, we have no control over that, okay?
I understand that, but
And the other thing I wanna say is, I spoke with Gene about this today, is when I talked to Mike about this the first time a month ago, he said the machine is coming to the town barn, it's gonna be a possession of the town barn, and there'll be a highway employee that will run it at all times. And I said, Mike, if you're gonna put that on it, I'm saying no, I will not agree with that. And he came back to me a day later and said, okay. I said, the town taxpayers are buying this, it's a town piece of equipment. Jamie and Jay need to use this piece of equipment. Jamie's been on these machines for freaking 20 years and maybe longer. He can run it like nothing with his eyes closed. And that's just my feeling, and I put it this way, if there's a restriction on who operates it and that whole deal, I'm not gonna vote for it. That's as simple as that for me.
How the hell are you gonna control that?
By, when he tells us that he can't have it and he's sending an operator, we're gonna say, no, that's not the case. I mean, we can only control it verbally, you know? Anybody else got any ideas or thoughts?
I mean, I support purchasing,
Yeah.
I do.
Yep.
I do too. I don't think renting a machine year after year after year and not having something to show for all that rent money going out is worth it.
Yeah.
Personal opinion.
Yeah.
my first opinion, no.
You know?
And I have a bunch of reasons why no. I could tell you them if you care, but I'm not gonna do that.
That's why we have a bunch of us on this board, so we can have opposing opinions and views.
Yes.
Well, the reason-
Yeah, I'm interested.
Well, but the problem that we have, let's just take buying any piece of equipment.
Yep.
Much less this one. As soon as you own it, as opposed to rent it, something happens, you gotta pay to fix it,
Yeah.
okay? You rent it, it's whoever you're renting it for, so every time you rent it, you get
Yeah.
So, using, as example, the town has purchased mowers, roadside mowers. I bet you we have spent almost well, I don't wanna say almost, but a very large amount of money on just maintaining them.
Yep.
Right? And I've looked at the bills, so.
I don't know that for sure, but.
Yeah, don't do that.
No, I'm just saying, I don't know.
Yeah, yes, you do.
Can I say I don't know?
Yeah, okay, well, we have
I
spent.
mean, the one mower that I went to.
And it's sad,
The one mower that I went to tax on, they sent the factory rep a couple times, and it got taken care of by warranty, so that's.
I know, but we have, okay, I'm just giving examples why. Okay, the other problem that we have here, and you have said this to me a number of times, that our highway superintendent is going to rack up rental charges at large numbers to try and force us to purchase one, because we'll say, holy cow, why are we spending all this money for rent? You have told me that a number of times.
So I have a question for you. How are you gonna stop that?
I know, see, that's.
No, just answer my question.
No.
How do you stop that? There's no way.
I understand, but I'm just, just, maybe it's just for philosophical reasons, if nothing else. It doesn't make, the reason why we're spending $100,000 or beyond $100,000 is because we have somebody that's, if we don't do this, he's gonna run up all kinds of bills to force us into doing this. It's like upside down. The other is.
Can I say one thing?
Well, no, I'm still talking. The other is.
You wanna are we still gonna discuss this?
Well, no, I don't
We
care.
haven't gone into executive session yet, so yeah, it's out there.
If this thing was properly managed, every, I don't wanna say every minute it's rented, but a larger percentage than 50%, it would actually get used. Over 50, I know this for a fact, cause I looked into it, you know I did. Over 50% of the available time that we rent this, did it get used? Under 50%, easily under 50%. And I've had a number of people, not that I go follow and drive around, cause I don't, but I've had a number of people come up to me, it's like, that freaking excavator has been sitting there in the same spot, day after day after day. In fact, this is another, I know in the summertime, I believe they take the entire week of, takes 4th of July week off or something like that. We rented this thing and it sat there for the entire week.
It was rented for the month, should we send it back and then bring it back when the guys go back to work? The transportation back and forth will kill you, that makes
Okay.
no sense.
As a private business owner, would you like plan for that? Would you, I'm going to do this, so would you plan to buy or rent anything knowing you aren't gonna use it, so you're gonna pay for it? That makes no sense, no business.
Depends on
would
how
do it.
long the jobs are ongoing. I've had equipment
Okay.
sitting on jobs for up to a month before not being used.
Where I worked for over 30 years, we did not own, this is the state of New York. We did not own any excavators. We rented them. And I managed their use. So we used them the maximum amount of time we rented them. That's my only issue here is, we're for business purposes, we're considering where it sounds like we're gonna buy it because we're getting roped into it because it's rented in wildly weird ways. And that's the other thing too, is we have an excavator. They just refuse to use it. Now,
It's not exactly an excavator, that's a tired machine, and an excavator is completely different on the way you can dig with it and the way you can use it, and the attachments you can have on it.
That's not true either. But the other thing too is, what is the primary thing that you would think we should, this excavator or this digging device should, here in the town of Alexandria, would be used for? What's the thing we have on roads more than anything else? Ditches. Ditches. There are more ditches than pipes, way more.
Yeah, there are, yeah.
Okay? Excavators are the stupidest thing to dig ditches. A gradle. Now, if you look at DOTs, what they do own are gradles. You just drive down the road and you do your ditch. You can also put pipes in, because I've done that before as well. If we're gonna buy something, we should be buying a gradle. The other thing, gradles don't need to be trailered. They can drive down the road. This thing requires a trailer, so you need a truck, a trailer, to move this thing from place to place.
Do they not already have a trailer at the town that will haul this?
Okay, so I can just take an individual, I can say, hey, I want you to go out and ditch Stein Road or something like that. So right now, we have to have somebody to have a truck, somebody for the, it takes multiple people. You just take that grade off, one person, go do it. I'm just one vote, and I'm gonna get outvoted here, but that's my opinion.
Yep, they're very good points.
It's just,
They are, and I haven't considered all of them, to be honest with you.
So, with you saying that, Sean, and with
and this is a
needing some
budget thing,
input
why are
from
we
Ronnie,
talking
I
about it
think we ought
now?
to wait. What?
This is well, we discussed this at budget time. He brought us stuff.
Yeah, we did.
And this is the other crazy thing. In order to entice us into buying this, he's gone from an excavator that was, I believe, over $200,000, and he's dropped it and dropped it and dropped it. I'm afraid now, we're getting an excavator that may not be sufficiently large enough, because he's trying to get a number that we'll say okay with.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Now, this number is
But your numbers are right, we were way over 150,000 before, and now
way
we're
over.
107 and 122, so.
So I'm just saying,
Yeah.
we're supposed to be smart here, you know?
Yeah. Okay, well then, if everybody's okay, we'll take a few days or whatever, we'll wait till, to talk about that on Monday.
Yeah, I'd like to,
Think about it a little more.
well, I wanna talk to Mike.
Yep.
Tibbles.
Yep.
I mean, I haven't heard from him either, and,
Yep.
I should, I think.
Yep.
So,
I agree,
that's
I've
my-
had extensive conversations with Mike on it, so
yeah, and I just,
Yep.
my opinion hasn't changed, so.
it would be probably, at this point,
Yep.
Mike, you did educate me, I'm glad that you shared all that stuff, so, it's got me
Yeah. Yep.
somewhere
Well,
in
he's
between,
got-
but.
He's got good points, I understand.
I'm just,
And Mike's Mike's got a lot of experience in this stuff, and
well,
he,
the other thing I would say, like, in your email there, you mentioned, you guys actually purchased something, and you found uses for it, you really, again, getting back to the thing sitting, they could have been doing anything, but no, it just sits. How is this one gonna be treated any differently? They're not gonna do anything extra, they didn't do any ditching that I'm aware of. They didn't do anything, they replaced pipes, and then if they weren't replacing pipes, it sat. That's,
Okay.
that's the truth.
Okay, so we'll let that, we're gonna sit on that. We've got 3 or 4 things that I'm gonna have to make sure that I put on the, actually, I'm not gonna have a special meeting. What we're gonna do is we're gonna adjourn this meeting so that we don't have to advertise, we don't have to do anything, and we can talk about anything we want. In a special meeting, we have to tell what we're gonna talk about, okay? So at the end of this meeting, which is after we come out of executive session, I'll adjourn this meeting till Monday. At what time works for everybody here on Monday? Something like 5?
Whenever you tell me it'll work.
I'm sure don't have anything.
The later the better, probably, but 4 or 5.
That works for me, any of those times, 4, 4:35, 5 o'clock works
So,
good.
I mean, if you want it 4, we can do 4.
Fine with 4.
We just
yeah.
gotta make sure it happens Monday, cause I'm outta here Tuesday.
I was gonna say,
This is
Me
the
too.
20.
Are ya?
I'm on a plane at 1 AM.
Hopefully in the air.
FLA,
If it's not in the air, Brent, I won't know the difference.
Yeah,
so Monday,
Monday at 4 o'clock.
okay?
And actually, I guess we could probably do that now. We'll adjourn this meeting till Monday at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
I need a motion to do that.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mike, second by Sean. Any discussion? We're gonna go into executive session and then we'll come out and we'll do the other step of adjourning this meeting. Or take any action that we might take,
After.
talk about during executive session, okay? So, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, none. Okay, so we're going into executive session. I'm gonna go turn the audio off.
You going to Florida? Where are you going? If I could ask.
Aruba.
Oh, nice, nice.
Even more south.
Again, I'm not prying, how bad are they? What's the airfares like?
I don't know.
Hmm?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, that's even better for you, I mean, 'cause